On this episode, you have to decide. Hey everybody, this is the Quarter Show, and decision has been a topic of the week, topic of a little recent times here. We've been talking to the sales team about decisions, and so I want to take it up on the show. You have to decide. You have to decide in order to close any deal, and I think people take decision too light. They don't take it seriously, or maybe they don't consider it. Maybe you're not looking at it at all. You're just trying to hustle and do the daily actions of trying to close a deal. But that isn't enough, is it? Right? You have to decide. And in order to get the deal done, the first thing is decision. So when you look at decisions, like decision is, it means completely and utterly committing to something and assuming no other outcome is going to happen. It means you're completely all in, all chips on the table, right? And I think a lot of people don't take the time in sales to literally decide that something is going to happen, you know? And so for me, it's like when I'm closing something or I'm doing anything in life, I decide. I take a moment and I might write it down. I keep a journal, I keep a moleskin. I might write it down in my journal or in my moleskin. I might decide. This is happening, like this is going to happen. I am doing this. And that, you know, it has to be pure. It has to be lightning. You know what I mean? When you decide something, it can't be, you can't waffle, right? You can't be like, if this, then, you know, we'll see. Or I'm just going to try. People say, I'm trying to do this. I always correct my sales team. They talk about their deals and their language, the way they're saying, like, well, I'm trying to get this deal done. That's not a decision, is it? That's not decisive language. That's just, I'm trying to get this deal done. That won't get it done. You have to look at it from the standpoint of like, I'm doing this. This is what's going to happen. This deal is happening, or I'm getting this deal done, or here's what's going to happen, or here's how it's going to happen, or whatever. But it's very clear. It's very clear language. It's very assertive language. It's very decisive language. And when you've actually made that decision, you know, completely, then you can follow it up by the action. You can follow it up by the mechanics associated. But don't make the mistake of chasing like you're trying to tinker and problem solve and figure out and work the mechanics and do all these different things prior to you making a decision. Because the way life works, it doesn't work like you go and figure some stuff out so you can decide. Or you go figure things out and hopefully it's gonna be the outcome of like what you wanted or what. Life doesn't work that way. You know, I was saying to Ben yesterday, we were talking about decision, we were talking about this topic, and I said, look, you know, I'm a runner myself, and you know, I talk about that on previous shows, but you don't take a run this way. You don't say, hey, in the morning, if I feel well, you know, my legs are not sore, I'm gonna try and go run at 6 a.m. Because I can tell you that you're gonna be laying in bed at 6 a.m., 100%. You're not gonna wake up. You're going to be laying there. You're definitely not going running. If you're going to run at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., it goes like this. I'm running tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. You put out your run clothes. You get everything ready. You get your alarm ready. You're like, I'm running tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I'm going to go run 5 miles. Period. That's happening. Then the alarm goes off and you stick to that decision. You commit to that decision and you follow it up with the actions and you go run. Right? But the wishy-washy, like, well, you know, see how I feel, see how I sleep, and then if I feel good, I'll go for a run. Guarantee you that run is not going to happen. So decision is very, very important. I think it's very underrated. I think a lot of people don't think about it. They don't factor it in. They're certainly not factoring it into their deals. But you have to decide on each and every single deal that you do.
And there can be thought back of that. Like, it's not like don't think about stuff and just decide. You can weigh out, should I do this? Should I have this client? Am I selling the right thing? Have I done the right stuff? And balance it out. And once you've concluded, and this is the right, like, I'm going to buy this car for myself. like you've concluded on data, then that's your decision. Or you go, have I sold the client the right thing? Do I have the right proposal over? And you look over the process you took with them and what everything was said, and you go, is this the right thing? And then once you've decided, then it's all out, right?
One thing that's funny on this too is like, you're trying to get to the decision maker to get them to decide, but you haven't decided. How are you supposed to? It's comically difficult to get somebody else to decide when you haven't decided, right? The decision starts with you. So we talk about decision makers and people are going to make the decision. You're trying to get somebody else to make a decision, but you can't even make a decision, right? And so like on each and every one of your deals, look at the deal, look at what you're going to sell, look at the whatever's involved in the deal. You make a decision, and then you go get them to make a decision. But a lot of people are like, the level of effort, the level of confusion, the level of difficulty in their deal stems back to the fact that they didn't make a decision. They're not clear on the deal. They're not clear on what they're going to do. They didn't decide and therefore can't get other people to decide. How are you supposed to get other people to decide if you can't decide? Right?
Yeah.
You have to completely decide and frame your deal entirely so you know exactly what you're doing, and then you can go and persuade, sell, convince, handle, whatever, and get them to decide, right? But how many of you take the time to literally make the decision on each and every deal that you do? Look at all your deals, go through your lineup and say, did I decide here? Did I decide there? What have I decided?
Because you might be calling them up and wondering, have they decided? You might be calling your prospect, calling your client who you're re-signing. I wonder if they've made a decision yet. I hope they've made a decision yet.
Why
felt that.
Why haven't they decided?
No,
what's so difficult? Ask yourself
That's
that.
interesting. If you
ask yourself that.
You make each phone call and you're like, okay, cool. I've decided that this person is this is the right thing for them, and this is what we're doing. I mean, I've decided for myself. Okay, I'm going to go get them, right?
But the salesperson often has not decided. They have lingering doubt. They have considerations, which means other thoughts and ideas and everything like that on the deal. They have these other things going on. And yet here they are trying to convince other people.
Interesting. To that degree, you're almost like in your day-to-day, in your work day or in your home life or whatever, you're almost pulling that one-armed bandit and hoping everything comes up cherries. I wonder if everything's going to align for me to get the chips.
Look, there's this saying too, like if you try and chase two rabbits, both will get away. If you decide on one and you focus and you go after that one, you're going to get it. You're going to catch it. It's a similar thing. Like what you're doing with the decision is like you're in this sort of indecision / maybe zone, right? Like I don't know if it. I'm trying to. Hopefully, maybe. These are all non-committal, wishy-washy things, and it's similar to the two bunnies. They're both going to get. You're not going to get anything, right? You have to decide, focus, commit, and follow up by action to get it done, right? But you have to go through first and decide on every single deal, and your life getting them to decide is a hell of a lot easier, right? You're clear, you're focused, you know the recommendation, you know the handling, you're convicted, you're committed to your decision. Getting them to decide is that much easier. Often what I found when I'm coaching and working with the sales team and pushing them and getting them to do different things, I'm running into this, right? I run into this with salespeople. I run into this. It's like they don't even have a clear picture. They're still vague in their own mind. They have not decided, right? And therefore they're like running into all these barriers, artificial stops, artificial confusion that's actually emanating from them, right? They don't have clarity and they have not decided on something, and yet they're trying to get to the other person to try and sell and get something happen. When you have clarity and you are clear-headed and you are focused and you are decided, getting them to do it is going to be that much easier. Dramatically easier, right? It starts with your decision to get them to decide, right? But you have to have clear, so you can define the deal. Like, okay, what did I decide on? What exactly is going to happen? How is this going to go down? You visualize that, you decide, and you visualize that, you commit to it, and then you just follow it by actions. That's how you're going to get the deal done, Because if you don't, and you run into some barrier, which you're going to run into a barrier, and they give you some thing, some objection, some this, some that, you're not mentally and physically stable. You're going to get derailed. Why? Because you didn't decide. Right? So it's going to, now you're spinning out. You're spinning out because you're not ready. Right? You're not convicted. Okay?
Yeah.
There you go. Episode 106, 107.
107, I think.
107. There you go. So hopefully that helps. If you like it, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the like button, share it on social. We definitely appreciate it. We have more coming at you. I was traveling recently, so I apologize. There's a little bit of a lull in episodes coming out, but we're going to crank up the episodes and get more out coming to you soon. Thanks for watching.